Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to another episode of Nadiya Shah Productions. I am your host, Nadiya Shah. Thank you so much for being here to celebrate the author of What's Up, Uranus. He's an astro historian and actually our mutual friend, Matthew Curry of Conquer the Universe with Astrology fame, just raved about him, said he was a great interview. I've spent a few minutes with him so far, and I can tell you this is going to be a great conversation. Nick Dagan best. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Nadia. Thank you for having me.
So what's up with Uranus?
What's up indeed? Well, we're in a period of a Uranus-Pluto square, of course. This is something that we've been looking toward for quite some time. As we sit here at the end of October 2011, I don't think there are too many astrologers, seasoned astrologers anyway, who are too surprised by anything that's going on in the world or what we see going on around us. I remember... Occupy. Everything is about to change,
yes.
and that's really sort of been the case so far.
Yeah, and so what changes are you seeing based on your research? Because you've written this incredible book, again, What's Up, Uranus, and it's really this documentation of how transits of Uranus have changed our world, or how they have reflected the changes that have happened in our world.
It's a book about how the world continues to change as Uranus spends 7 years in a sign and then enters a new sign, and how we see something of a sort of parallel effect as we go from a full 84-year Uranus cycle to its return. The last time Uranus was in Aries was in the late 1920s and early 30s, the Great Depression. Human society, they're in their own sort of intuitive way understand the astrological cycles. They sort of understand how this period in time is a reflection of the 1920s, 30s.
In a way that really gets closer to the root causes?
Yes, yeah. And interestingly, the last time Uranus was square Pluto was actually back in the early 1930s, the last time Uranus was in Aries. That time it was square Pluto in Cancer, this time it's square Pluto in Capricorn.
So it's like flipped.
Yeah, it's flipped in some way. But you saw things back in the 1930s that are not unlike Occupy New York. I mean, first of all, it was a stock market crash that caused the big problem in the first place. In 1848, virtually every European country was in revolution. The first democratic governments emerged out of such revolutions. And just generally, it was the birth of feminism. We're here in Niagara Falls. The famous Seneca Falls Convention, not far from here, was the first gathering of women for a women's cause. I mean, at the time it was getting them the right to vote, which would take another full Uranus cycle almost to happen, but it was the first time these things were coming up.
We've had to be patient.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, admittedly. Occupy New York is going to wind up, and the whole phenomenon that's emerging, it's going to be much bigger than just Occupy New York, but it's going to become something that is going to be something of a political football.
They're calling it a leaderless movement.
That is very much a Uranus and Aries idea. Aries would be appalled at the idea
of not being a leader.
Of not having a leader.
Yeah.
This is the secret about Uranus when it transits into a sign, is that it tends to upset the values of that sign. Now, when Uranus entered Virgo in 1961-62, the things that coincided with that period really tell you a lot about what Uranus does to a sign. Now, Virgo to us is the sign of quality, right, of high culture. A Virgo is someone who likes the best literature, the best art. Warhol or Marvel Comics or the Beatles. You're seeing Uranus enters a sign, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna play around with what this sign, with the values that this sign holds. I'm gonna take them and hold them upside down.
You're clearly super passionate about astrology. You've clearly spent lots of times with books. Yes?
Yes.
Poring over historical books and also refining your skills as an astrologer.
Yeah.
Why do you love astrology so much?
Well, I'll tell you this. People ask me why I study astrology. I use astrology as a tool to study history. And the reason I love to study history is for the irony. No matter what we try, something else comes out of it. History is full of incidents where people did something really horrible, but it had some really positive result because of it, and vice versa. People have tried to do some really positive things in the world that have just led to some incredible disasters. Sure, there might be single individuals in history who they were born, they knew what they wanted to do with their life, they did it, and then they died, and nothing ever went wrong. But
it's a rare individual.
A rare individual indeed. Most of us have to stumble a lot. Astrology is this calendar that gives a very unique and distinct quality to every moment in time. Every day in history has got a unique astrological makeup. Astrology gives time this qualitative value that it otherwise wouldn't have. My earliest years I spent in a sort of urban hippie commune with a lot of very radical political types. And
what was that like? That's a rare experience.
There were wonderful things about it, and then some things that obviously you miss out on having a life like that. But what I'll say is, I mean, that environment was very atheistic. Now, when I discovered astrology in my mid-20s, being someone like that, who never had any sort of context like that before, I was suddenly struck when I discovered astrology that, wow, we really are connected. The universe really is conscious, if you will. That tends to be a word we sometimes I feel we overuse that word a little, but it really is sort of, it's aware.
And that your life is in some way connected to the universe.
Yeah, and that we're all connected to each other.
Yeah, we are all connected to each other, and
Yeah.
I really believe that very strongly. And I am so looking forward to reading this book. Those of you who have seen previous episodes of Nadiya Shah Productions, you know that I did actually visit the spot where Uranus was discovered.
Oh.
And I did an episode on that in the Bath episode, and so I think that we have a lot to look forward to, and especially with the upcoming trends that you spoke of, lots of Uranus activity, lots of freedom, rebellion, and being yourself, being
Yes.
you, authentically you. It's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Nadiya. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much for being here, for celebrating Nick Dagan Best with me. Until we connect again, take care. Welcome to my brand new show, Nadiya Shah Productions, featuring inspiring, positive, and uplifting people, places, and events in astrology, New Age spirituality, and art. Catch full episodes, daily horoscopes, and so much more on my website, nadiyashah.com. Until we connect again, take care.